Welcome to What You Missed When You Didn't Exist. I am Corbett and I am 53. No, I'm not. I'm 52. Don't age me.
I'm the one that has the 3, remember? We just talked
I
about
know, I
this.
know.
I'm Lucy, 23. Not Corbett's 53. He's not there
Uh-huh.
yet. It's getting close
Yeah.
though.
Oh, don't worry, you'll catch up.
I'll catch up. Oh, I've got a minute before that happens.
I think so. That's okay. It's okay. So, what you missed when you didn't exist this time around was the Statue of Liberty. Oh wait, that was
I, I
before I
f-
exist too. That's right. The Statue of Liberty was built in 1886. 1886 was when it was dedicated. Sorry, it was dedicated 1886. It was probably in position probably closer to 1890, I bet.
oh, like when it was built
Yeah, when it was
in
built. It was
in
originally
Ellis Island.
like any piece of art, it was originally a gift from somebody else that America didn't want.
Yay!
I think it was Bertoldi was the designer in the 1800s. He wanted to make something for the anniversary, the 1876 anniversary, the centennial of Liberty for America. And America went, nah, thank you, but we're good. Anyway, the American children gathered up a bunch of money to, and by bunch of money, I mean like they literally sent it in pennies, but they built the building that essentially is the pedestal that the statue sits on. Pedestal had to be built by Americans, so that's an American foundation. Doggone it!
Okay.
It was supposed to be a lighthouse. Is something interesting tidbit of information. It was supposed to be a lighthouse, but the armature was too lightweight. It wasn't strong enough to hold like a full light that would be bright enough to be seen.
The armature of like
The
the
arm,
Statue of Liberty's arm.
yeah, the actual torch was supposed to be a lighthouse,
Oh.
and it was turned off during World War II because they were afraid it would signal, even though they didn't consider it bright enough to be a lighthouse. They turned it off during World War II because they were afraid that enemy planes might use it as and enemy ships might use it as a navigational beacon.
Oh.
And actually, in the World War One, it was bombed. I don't know if you knew
The
that.
the Statue of Liberty was bombed?
Yeah, there was a terrorist attack. I think those German agents, spies, who had gotten in and they were going to blow up the statue, but blew up. I think they blew up part of the arm, which got because you could go up to the arm up to 1916 when they shut it down.
Oh, okay.
It was the Black Tom bombings. Kind of cool. Sounds
Whoa.
really neat. But you know what? None of that matters because that was before I existed. This is more of a prelude to hey, we have a statue. For anybody who didn't know this, there's a gigantic freaking statue sitting outside of New York.
I would hope that's a part of American education and
I hope somebody mentions like, hey, there's a statue out there that's like all about freedom and stuff, and everybody can probably recite. Well, I don't know if everybody the poem that's at the base on the pedestal. Give me you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry, your huddled masses yearning to be free.
oh, I've never heard that before, but
What?
that's neat.
How
No.
have you never
But
heard that before? Oh, come on.
actually, okay, I've never learned about the Statue of Liberty in school. I've only learned about the Statue of Liberty from movies and TV shows.
So you know everything that National Treasure had to offer.
Yeah, totally. Because I've also definitely seen National Treasure.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
different
anyway,
episode.
there's a little primer for anybody who doesn't know about the Statue of Liberty. It was based by a French artist. It was based off of the goddess of liberty or freedom, which actually there's several people who point to there was a painting done with a woman carrying a torch that she was trying to light a cannon during the Revolutionary War in France. There was another statue that was very similar, but instead her arms were down and she carried a sword.
Hmm.
There's like a lot of different things that kind of lead to it. So I don't when it comes to art, a lot of things will influence things. Anyway, the statue itself is copper. Got to be a great conductor for electricity, I would bet.
Yeah.
But that is why over the years, if you I think in older movies, and what was it? American Tail. Everybody complained about it in American Tail because it didn't look like it should, because it was brown, because
Oh,
it
because it was
was,
copper.
but it was a cartoon, so it's hard to complain about. But it's copper. Over the years, it gained this sort of green patina. That's the way it looks now. Is a big old green lady standing out there with a torch,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a symbol of freedom. She's a symbol for. She was put into place right in the end of the 1880s, and people coming in, the big rush of people coming from other countries going to Ellis Island and everything you hear about. That was what they saw. That was the symbol of freedom and liberty coming into the countries. Great, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess France was okay.
You guess.
Anyway, like any gift from France, you leave it out in the lawn and it gets old.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
So over 100 years later, in a I think it was 1982, they officially started getting money put aside to restore the statue. There had just been the bomb that happened in 1916. There was a lot of changes over the years and just wear and tear on the statue that had to be fixed. There was an
Mm-hmm.
exterior piece I think that had to be rebuilt. So from about 1984, I want to say, to about 1986, there was roughly like a year and a half to 2 years where the statue had a giant scaffolding around it. It was actually it looked just like a big old building basically for the most part. You could still kind of make out the torch and a little bit of the crown, but you really couldn't see it, and you certainly couldn't go to it.
Mm-hmm.
1986 or 87, they reopened, big celebration. It was neat. It was all brand new again. And for a moment, we had that beacon of liberty kind of relit, and everything looked cool until 2000, and basically after the 9/11 attacks, people shut it down again for tourism. And I don't think it was opened up fully until 2009. So
Oh,
only somebody who's in your age group would have actually been able to see it recently.
that's cool.
So it's been kind of in a lockdown phase for quite a while. Anyway, during that time when it was all covered in scaffolding is probably the thing I wanted to talk about. It took all that to get to yeah, and then it was covered in scaffolding. It was kind of an interesting time because it's a thing that you can't really imagine, like, hey, we're gonna shut down the Grand Canyon and we're gonna cover it in a tarp for a couple years. You just can't imagine that. And it's the same, it's a national monument that literally was covered for a couple of years. It was actually more than that because I think they started in 83 or 84 doing some of the like easier renovations and things and structural renovations. But the external cleaning took a long time. There was, I think, part of its foot that had to be replaced. They had to clean. I mean, obviously birds poop on it like crazy, I'm sure.
Well, why were they doing all the renovations in the first place? Just because of the bombings that happened, or
A combination of that, but just, I mean, literally 100 years of a giant copper statue. It's gonna wear. I
yeah,
mean, it just
that makes
will. But anyway, the statue's always been a pretty cool symbol for liberty, freedom, and all that sort of stuff. Very cool American symbol. It's been blown up several times in movies. Many,
yeah.
many times. I think because it's so iconic, it is really easy to go, ah, look, the alien laser blows it up. Ha ha.
Yep.
I will say that's where France did kind of set us right because they have the Eiffel Tower, we have the Statue of Liberty, and they both are quite iconic for what they are. We have a lot more national monuments and, natural wonders, but this was one of those man made wonders. It's like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
That is one big statue. This
Yeah,
was
that's
also
crazy.
kind of trailing off of the bicentennial 1976 celebrations because that was, I think, what triggered it. People were wanting to do something about it, but they didn't get to it in time.
Oh, that makes sense.
So anyway, the Statue of Liberty getting cleaned up, fixed, and repaired and refurbished. That's right. It's not the original. It's the special one. It's the better
The
one.
special
It's
one?
I don't know. It's really the same one. I'm presuming most of the structure's still the same. They just reinforce things. Years of salt water and copper can't be great.
Yeah, that might make it a little fragile.
hmm And I do always get a kick out of the fact that the pedestal was built on pennies. Literally, just
That's
kids
cool.
sending in pennies from all over the country. I'm sure they got plenty of endorsements. I know during the refurbish when they were redoing it, the person who was in charge of it, and you won't know this guy at all, but I'll tell you anyway. It was Lee Iacocca, and
Okay,
Lee
cool.
Iacocca. Oh, you know who Lee Iacocca is?
No, I'm just saying cool.
Cool.
Lei Coca. Cool.
You're winning it.
Yep, I'm trying. Anyways, what about him?
Lee Iacocca was an automobile executive for, I think it was Chrysler at the time, but he's probably best known for being the one behind the Ford Mustang. I don't know if you are familiar with the Ford Mustang.
No, not really.
Oh, it's such a cool car.
Aren't there a lot of like Mustangs? I like the old Ford Broncos over the new ones that they just released, but
Okay,
that's a separate tangent.
he's also responsible for the Ford Pinto. And if anybody knows the Ford
Mm.
Pinto, we will be covering that at some point because that was in my lifetime. Good for them. The Ford Pinto was known for exploding on contact.
Nice.
Yeah, but the Mustang was a cool car. It was a cool hot rod kind of car. But Lee Iacocca was basically the brains behind the American auto industry in the 70s. And it's kind of funny that he took over the restoration of the Statue of Liberty. I guess one thing I did find out that I had never heard of was the conspiracy theory that, what was it, the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of Satan.
How in what world? In what world, Dad?
There are 7 points on her crown, a singular
So
one
it's
going forward and 3 on
each of
each
the
side.
sins.
7 deadly sins, which Satan indulges in. And flames are supposed to represent the fires of Hades or something like that. Every so often, I do like digging up the conspiracy stuff just to go, wow, that's some stretching.
That is some stretching.
That's some definite silly putty brain stuff. You just stretch that stuff right out.
Silly putty brain stuff? That's funny.
Uh, No, you just take the silly putty, roll it out on the newspaper, and get the idea backwards, upside down, and reversed, and stretch it.
uh, sure. Yeah.
But that was like the most like what? Because I kind of knew like I think in National Treasure, one of the clues is hidden in the Statue of Liberty, which
Hmm.
wouldn't have been made when the forefathers were there. Because it was the whole thing with this, the National Treasure was the forefathers of the country had a thing like a secret place they put everything, and if you followed all the clues, then you would get to it.
Ooh.
But that the Statue of Liberty wouldn't have been built.
No. It's okay. Plot holes. You just
Uh,
ignore them sometimes.
I'm sure somebody will write in and say something about that, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so where are we now? You didn't even realize it had been renovated. So did you? And you sounds like you really vaguely only know that there's a statue there.
Well,
It
yeah, because
has
I've never been to New York. You were the one that went.
well, well, you've said you've seen movies and TV shows and stuff like that. You generally know that there is a statue there, right?
Well, yeah, my whole personality was Friends. Of course I know that the Statue of Liberty exists.
Okay.
I know it's in New York and it's on Ellis Island and
Nope.
the
It's on Liberty Island.
okay, well it's
It
somewhere.
faces Ellis Island.
You know what? It's fine.
It's okay.
It works. I know that it's not as early as when immigrants came on the Mayflower, but I know other immigrants later came and they saw it and they were like, "Oh my gosh, look, the Americas."
Mm,
Yep.
it's
and
okay.
and that's about all I've got. I didn't know it was being renovated. Like I never heard about that. But I wonder if it's different. I don't know. Was there a controversy when they started renovating it?
Not that I remember. It was just more. I think for more, it was me just being shocked to see all because they literally had the whole thing covered. They would show pictures of it off and on.
Oh.
That's weird because that's where the Statue of Liberty should be, and it's just a bunch of scaffolding.
Oh.
Actually, you can see it in the movie Remo Williams. If anybody's ever watching the movie Remo Williams, Remo Williams, it's a funny little actiony type movie, and they filmed it around the idea of being in the renovation of the Statue of Liberty, and there's a fight scene.
Oh.
They did film on the island for like some of the exterior scenes, but the actual fight scenes that happen on the scaffolding,
Mm-hmm.
they remade the sets all remade. So those are
Oh.
not real, but they are kind of neat, and you definitely get to see the statue, the actual real statue from the outside. at the time. If you were ever like, "Ooh, I wonder what it looked like," it didn't look like that.
That's cool.
But it was during the
Um,
Reagan era. Ronald Reagan was the one who reopened it.
who reopened it or started the renovations on it?
Well, he started the renovations on it because it was 81 or 82 when they started it. He was elected in 1980, and went all the way through to 1988,
Oh
the
baby, oh
beginning of the
baby.
Great Recession. That's
That's a
another
different
thing.
topic. That's another
I
episode.
I know. Everything's another episode around here.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I could really compare it to would be like,
Well, you have been to France. Did you ever
yeah,
see
Notre Dame
anything?
would be the
Yeah.
only thing that has been renovated. I couldn't think of the place for a minute. But I feel like Notre Dame is different because it's more religious based. Not
Well,
that
Notre Dame
being,
had to be renovated because of the fire. It literally was
yeah,
burned.
it was burned, which was a big deal. But also, it's older and it has that religious attachment to it. You know, some people do take being an American very seriously, that being an American could be your religion if you want.
That's yeah.
Hot
Yep,
takes.
that's very
Um,
true.
but I think that it's good to keep things renovated. I guess we also looked at Mount Vernon and like all of George Washington's stuff. They have to keep that renovated.
And that is very
It's
old. I mean,
it
that's
is
in the
very old.
200-year mark.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very
It's good
old
to
for
see that
America. I'm sure
history.
anybody in Europe is like, 200 years? I have a doghouse that's older than that.
Yeah, probably.
That's the one funny thing. They look at our old west as this nostalgic wonderment thing, in the same way that we look at Arthur and the knights. That they look at that,
Oh yeah.
or that we look at that like, oh, that's old times, and they look at the Wild West as, oh, that's crazy old times for America. I
Mhm.
guess for about 15 years.
It's yeah.
You went to the Louvre, you went around Paris. So did you ever see any artwork or anything that would make you go, "Oh, that kind of reminds me of the Statue of Liberty"? Because I'm kind of curious. As many things I've seen that point to it could be because of this or it could be because of this, the inspiration that led to it.
I remember taking an art history class and we talked about the Statue of Liberty for like 5 minutes. I don't remember a lot from it though. I mean, it
Obvious.
could be compared to the like the Venus de Milo. I always thought the Statue of Liberty looked and kind of equated in my mind more to like Lady Justice. I don't think it connects that well, but I've always thought it was interesting that the Statue of Liberty wore like a toga type thing because America was so baby compared to Greece.
Well, but the foundations of democracy were from Greece.
That makes
Eh.
sense as to why we would have the Statue of Liberty all togaed up with a big old crown. But that seems like a lot of like wasting of copper. I've always liked the stone a bit better. I feel like it's more resourceful.
I don't know if you could make a statue that big, and well, I guess you could. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I'm just surprised that we didn't take the copper from the Statue of Liberty to turn into weaponry because they did that in World War II with so many of the different
Well, but
statues. Like
there's
they were
some
just
things you
melted down.
have to dedicate to inspiration. You have to have certain things that mean something. You have to have something to fight for, basically.
Yeah.
And that is one of those iconic things now. That's an iconic thing. I'm sure in
Hmm.
1870 or whenever they first proposed it, and America's like, we'll pass. They didn't know what it was going to be like. They didn't realize how ominous this thing was going to be. People coming in pre the 1900s, they're seeing this gargantuan statue and going,
Yeah.
"This is America, big, bold, and beautiful."
The land of opportunity.
Yeah,
Let the liberty light shine your way into our hearts.
I will recommend checking out American Tail if you want that sense of arriving immigrant type feel, because nothing says immigrant like a
Mm.
mouse.
Oh, yeah. We actually, my roommate and I talked about that today, about American Tail, because we were talking about Rango,
Mm.
and she was like, yeah, watch American Tail. And it's like Rango if Rango wasn't R rated. Just the way that the characters are, I guess. I was like, oh, okay, we'll have to watch that.
You haven't seen American
But
Tail? Come on, Lucy.
no, dude. You were the one that educated me on
I
movies, so
I
that's your
figured you
fault.
would have seen that one. That's just I guess okay. I will take the blame on that one.
Yep. It's all you, dude. If you didn't physically sit me down to watch it, it wasn't watched.
I'm just surprised. I feel like your mom always watched that. That's a cute show.
There were other movies, other
It is
priorities.
the exemplary immigrants arriving in America. If you also want to feel a little immigrants arriving into America, listen to Neil Diamond's Coming to America. You can't go wrong there. Neil Diamond is
Oh, I thought you were
awesome.
gonna say watch Titanic.
Nope.
They were trying to come to America. They just didn't quite make
Yeah,
it,
that
you know?
they didn't even come close.
But that's immigrants coming to America. It's there.
That's true. That's okay. So anyway,
Well,
symbols are important to people, and that's good.
symbols.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dumb things I keep around the house that sometimes I don't think I can ever get rid of, just because I look at them, they remind me of a thing, and I need to be remembered of the thing.
Yep, exactly.
Becomes a staple.
um, yeah,
Anyway,
that's cool.
if you have any questions for what you missed when you didn't exist, or for Lucy, or for Corbett, or just want to yell at the sky and write it down on an email, you can send it to us at mail@whatyoumissedpodcast.com, and we'll be glad to answer what we can.
Yeah, we can answer things at mail@whatyoumissedpodcast.com.
There you go.
Ba-boom.
So, for what you missed when you didn't exist, I'm Corbett, and I'll talk to you next time.
And I'm Lucy, and enjoy your American spirit.